Hello, everyone. It's Jan Lundy with janlundy.com and my Pure Presence blog. This is a special treat for me today. I am interviewing and having a deep conversation, something so appropriate today for our needs, I think, as women especially. A very good friend, Lisa Erickson, who is the author of a wonderful new book that you will learn about shortly. But Lisa and I go way back, at least I think 10 years on the internet. You know, you were one of the first people I met when I had to start doing online things because my publisher told me I had to.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've been such a great spiritual friend and mentor in terms of all things online blogging, one of the first bloggers I really connected with. And you stayed faithful to this for all of these years. And now you're writing and being published. So that's very exciting. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Jen. I'm so glad to be here. And yes, I love the circle of this because I think the way we met is I reviewed one of your early books for Your Truest Self, right?
Yeah.
Which I really liked for my blog. And we struck up this online friendship and it continued through Meditate Like a Girl. And you've been such a
Yeah.
mentor to me as well, and always such a presence. You're just always so true to the true meaning of what we're trying to do, coming from that inner place. So I
Yeah.
really
Thank
honor that, and
you.
I really appreciate you having me today.
Yeah. Yeah. And very mutual, Lisa. Absolutely. So let's get to your new book. I'm so excited about. You get two new books coming out, and one we'll do something more on in the fall. But for now, this particular book, which has to do with the chakras, um, when you told me about it, one of the first things I thought of was, you know, there's this dimension of self-care that I have talked about. You know, for 20 some years of my work has been oriented around self-care, what I originally called self-nurturing all those years ago. But today I know it's about whole person well-being, you know, caring for ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. So I would love for you to talk with us today about your book and how, as I approached you to talk about, so what does self-care, spiritual care, chakra care look like? How does it all come in together? And maybe especially during these very challenging times that we're having. So
Yeah.
show us your book.
I'll show you my book, Chakra Empowerment for Women.
Yay, I love it.
It
I love
includes
it.
it's got color pictures and everything.
Oh, terrific. And it's published by, again,
Llewellyn,
Llewellyn.
Llewellyn Publishing, and they do a lot of.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah, very exciting. And in many ways, a culmination of the writing that I had been doing online and teaching in workshops for a
Yeah.
long time. And although this book is targeted to women, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that later, I think more generally for your question, to me, these chakras are working at that energy body level. It is that piece that brings mind, body, spirit together for me. And I think we all have to find our own way, but I really feel that the energy body is this interface between the physical body and our mind and spirit, our psyche and spirit. And so the chakras offer this doorway to work on any of them. When you're physically suffering from some, disease, dis-ease, as we say,
Mm-hmm.
you can work energetically on the chakra related to that part of the body, and it can help vibrationally. But also you can make that link to the mind body, never in opposition to conventional or other forms of medicine, but in addition, right? To really understand. And then also just in daily life, you can work with your chakras to help shift your energy. It's like this glue that connects all these levels of yourself. And so you can really work. It can also be a diagnostic tool. Like each chakra represents, when you're feeling stressed, right? That's a certain energy in your body, and you can sort of counter that with the opposite energy of the chakras that are about openness, relaxation, grounding in your body, to help counter that stress. So for me, it's almost like it's mindfulness 2.0. Like with mindfulness, we train ourselves to notice and just be with what we're experiencing. then the next step is, well, what if I want to change what I'm experiencing? Not in I want to control my environment kind of a way, but I want to shift my relationship or my reaction to what's arising. That's where chakra work can be helpful, because you can be like, oh, I really want to be more open in this situation. I'm going to take a moment to focus on my heart chakra, right? Or wow, I am really not connected to my body right now. I am really up here. I want to ground. I'm going to connect with my root chakra, right? So in that sense, I feel like it is almost a mindfulness 2.0 is kind of how I've come to think of it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that perspective. And you know, I want to throw in a personal story here, because in my household that I share with my beloved husband, we are very attuned to this work. For many years, he studied with Barbara Brennan and Hands of Light, and so he was a healer, and he still is a wonderful healer, though he doesn't have a private practice anymore. But so when I am feeling out of sorts, like you just said, he will automatically say, well, let's check your chakras. And because of the work I do, and I wanted to bring this in as an example, because of the work I do, which is a lot of giving out, which is what a lot of us do, a lot of us women and those in caregiving professions, or mothers, teachers, nurses, we give out more than we allow in. So when he's working on me, it inevitably, I said, okay, so what was it? What was the problem? It's the back of your heart chakra. Which is, you want to say what that is?
Well, for me, it's receiving support, allowing yourself to receive support of all types. Like the front is where we give out and relate to people, and that back is where we allow in support, including spiritual support from our spiritual forces in our life.
Right. Allowing that energy back in that nurtures and carries us. And so it's like, maybe through some of this knowledge that you can share with us today too, we might learn what our tendencies are, right? What our weak areas are in terms of even our chakras and energies, so we can take better care of ourselves, especially during stressful times.
Yeah.
So what would you like us to know? What would be a good place for us to start?
Well, I think we could actually go through each chakra if you want, or we could just pick a few and really talk about, how would it show up if that area of your life, that energy is obstructed or not fully present for you. So you know what situations in which you might want to bring it in. Oh, but actually, I want to back up a second, because what I do want to say, just for anyone out there that's maybe not so familiar with the chakras, maybe I was going to just do a little background or. Yeah. Sure, so the chakras are energy centers in our body. And I like to think of them as they're like the organs in our energy system. We have an energy anatomy. It has channels, just like our physical body has a circulatory system and a lymphatic system. And then it has organs like our heart and our stomach and our lungs. And the chakras are like the organs. They're the energy centers, the real intersections of energy in our body. And they each tie to different physical body parts, different emotions, different psychological and spiritual states. And there's a lot of different chakra mappings. So that's the basics. I work in this book with the 7 chakra mapping that a lot of people will be familiar with in the West. It's really the most popular chakra mapping. And the only other thing I wanted to say in terms of this boring technical stuff is that there are a lot of different ways to connect with the chakras. And there's 3 different ones that I think we can talk about today in the context of a video message like this or a video forum like this. One is kinesthetically, like you feel it in your body. And this is how some people experience them. Like they focus on their heart chakra and they feel a warmth, they feel a tingle, right? Another is more visual, visualizing a flower in your heart chakra, a candle in your navel, a certain color, that's where the colors come in. And a third is emotionally. So if we were to say, sticking with the heart chakra is linked to feelings when it's open of compassion, of love, of stillness, balance, then connecting to memories when you have felt that and trying to cultivate that feeling now and bring it into the now in your body is a third way to connect. So with any of the chakras, I find those are kind of the three main pathways, and there's no right or wrong. You can experiment. And that's what I really tried to do in the book is what works for you. Visualization, some people love it, some people hate it, right? Feeling it in your body, some people that really connects with including breath work, and some don't. And for others, like emotional memory really helps, really works, right? So I'll try to jump between those three, but if anything that I'm offering doesn't quite click, you can try one of those other three on the same chakra, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That does make sense. Yeah. I appreciate you teasing that out for us, because we are all different in how we may relate to this. So we don't all speak the same language. So wonderful. So yeah, let's go.
Okay. So the root chakra, and this is based at your tailbone. This is the focal point for it. So take a moment to come down to your tailbone, and just like, we are never focused that low down in our body, most of us, right? And for anyone out there who does yoga, like all those grounding postures when you're just in a strong stance, or where you have to balance, really where you have to connect with your feet, brings you low, brings your focus down. And we're always up here, right? Especially when we're stressed. So that is really when you're not completely linked into the energy of that root chakra, that's what happens. You're disconnected from your body in some way. It could be just very mental busyness. It could be escapism, right? And that can rise to the level of addiction. It can be disassociation. For people that have experienced trauma, can have patterns, survival patterns, really, of finding ways to leave their body to survive something. And then that becomes habitual whenever there's any stress. And so there's a lot of work about coming back down, connect, down, down, down into the root chakra. And physically, that is something I really work a lot with. And just a very simple exercise you can do is that feeling of reaching up. And I like to work with this one physically, and just, I'm bringing my energy all the way down. It's a good one to stand up for. Mm-hmm. Feel your feet on the ground and just really bring it all the way down into focusing on that part of your body. Some of the affirmations that might go with that, if you like working with affirmations or emotions, would be, I'm fully present in my body. I trust my body. I'm present to this moment in my body. I'm safe. That's a big one, because when we don't feel safe, that's when we're often out of our body. Yeah. So I'll let you maybe kind of respond to any thoughts you have on that one.
Absolutely. And that feels to me like something that, a place that many of us can do some restorative work right now. Again, totally synchronistically. Again, my husband worked on me the other day, and I said, what was it? He said, your root chakra. Mm-hmm. He said, and I was experiencing all of the things that you just said, being way out there, not even wanting to be present because of so much of the negativity that's going on right now and the difficulty, not feeling safe. And that is a huge one for me. You and I have talked about this over the years, my own personal journey through anxiety. And so did some work around that. And I've been doing more meditative work. I loved how you did this with bringing it down in, with visualizing like an elevator here, going down, 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 bringing my breathing down, bringing my awareness down, my attention down into that, as low as I can go. And feeling feet on the ground, really feeling almost as if I have root feet that go into the earth. So that makes total sense and seems so important for us right now in these times.
Yeah, and the element linked to this chakra is in fact the earth, right? Mm-hmm. So really going outside and, really trying to connect with the earth itself, the underneath us,
Yeah.
In that way of what's supporting me. And that is really what I do see happening for a lot of people in this stressful time. The anxiety brings people out. And what's interesting is the root chakra on an energy medicine level, it's also the foundation for our immune system. So to me, it's like when people are saying, well, what's the main chakras I should focus on right now? I'm saying heart and root. And
Excellent.
the root,
Yeah.
those are the two, heart and root. Like if you had to pick, just center in the heart, because this is in fact the heart chakra is linked to lungs, right? So this is in fact respiratory, and we all need to focus so much on kindness right now to each other and ourselves. And then that root, so that your connection to your physical body and your immune system is fueled. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. That's a good starting place for us. Yeah. So what's next? What do you think?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if we can do all 7, but we'll do up to the heart at least, and then I can
Okay.
speak more generally about the top ones. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the second chakra, my love,
Okay.
because the second chakra is really the reason I wrote this book, because I put although it goes through every chakra and also some multi-chakra tools, women's energy bodies are anchored in the second chakra, and men's tend to be anchored in the root chakra. We all work with all of these energies, but that root chakra is the anchor for our yang energy or masculine energy that we all hold. And the second chakra is the anchor for that yin feminine energy. It's in our womb space, and it's connected to all of those energies of sensuality and nurturing and germinating, inspiration, also sexuality, and really more on an everyday level, our ability to adjust and adapt. So what happens is we think our ability to be safe, that it's based on being able to control everything. That's the mode many of us can fall in. And then something like this happens that's so out of our control, and it can really throw us, right? So in that sense, the second chakra is about our ability to adjust and adapt and have faith in our ability to adjust and adapt. So it's also reparative energy, right? It is the regenerative energy of change and growth. That's, that fluidity, and it's linked to water. So for this one, really simply, I like to sway back and forth and get that sense of movement and visualize a beautiful flower in your pelvis. And I call it the sacral lotus in the book, but just visualize this flower of light, and it is just sending, swirly rays of light up through your body. And the affirmations would be, I am adaptable. I can adjust, right? Also, though, it has to do with pleasure. So it can be things like, I find pleasure in simple things, right? I allow myself to feel joy. So that is all of that, feminine energy. And I think of you a lot with this one because I know you live on a lake. You have such a profound connection to the water, right? And to the divine feminine, I feel.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is really going to surprise you, I think. I sway all the time. I do, in the shower. I was just doing it a couple of hours ago, getting ready for our interview today. I sway. I close my eyes or just lower my eyes so I don't get, off balance. But I sway, and I will stand there for quite a long, long time, 5 minutes more, maybe, just feeling the water and just swaying. And it is so comforting and so nurturing. And I had no idea that this is what I was doing.
It's your natural second chakra.
It is. It is. Thank you for that. I'm so glad to know that today. Yeah. So water and that gentle movement, often you can tell women who are mothers or who have been mothers in grocery stores, because when we stand there, quite often we're swaying. You ever notice that?
Looking around. Where's the kids? Yeah, no.
No, I just like you're holding a baby.
Yeah.
And I find even as a grandmother, I'm not holding, well, I do have a grandchild to hold, but he lives a ways away, but I sway. even when I hold down, I'm always swaying and moving. And that is that deep feminine, yes, womb, pelvis, nurturing, life-giving energy in place. So yeah, makes sense. I hope everybody will try that and try it in the shower too, and just see.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, and those two chakras, in a way, they're just the foundation. It's the yang and the yin. They're the foundation for all the chakras on top of them. And they represent that solidity and that adjustability and fluidity. And we always need this balance of both, right? And when we're stressed, it's often we're trying to meet things just with rigidity, or some people go the other way, complete passivity. Oh, it's so out of my control, I can't do anything, right? Which is too much yin. So it is about this balance, balance of both.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Two beautiful practices you've offered us so far. It's so important for these times. I love that we can bring this into the body.
Yeah.
And do that inner restoration in the body, because I will tell you personally, I don't think I can read one more article about how to do a certain strategy during these times and how to use this to do this. I'm kind of maxed and tooled out in terms of the written. So to go back to the body, there can be such deep comfort in the body. I know many people you've done a lot of work with trauma too, and women with trauma, and being in the body is hard when you've had trauma. I understand that. These are so gentle, though. These practices are so gentle. They just feel like deep care.
Yeah.
Deep self-loving, nurturing care.
And I do feel with as much time as we're all spending on screens, it is in fact very easy to get disembodied. You know, if you're working from home all day on a screen like this, where at least in the office you would get up and go out to lunch maybe, or something, like people are even more, and then we're binge watching at night, you can get very disembodied. And so it is important to, that these counter that, those two counter that quite a bit.
Yeah. So as we travel up another notch.
Yeah, I'll do the next one quickly, and then I'll talk about the other three so we don't get overloaded. I think the navel's very important too right now, and very helpful, because this is about boundaries. And it's about a lot of things. All of them are about a lot of things. But right now we are all, maybe you're sheltered up with a lot of people, as I am, right? A lot of closeness. And you have to be able to kind of understand what you need, the space you need, your own energetic boundaries, and insist upon it, right? And give yourself that space for periods of time each day. And I think in the larger context for women, this chakra and the issue of boundaries is so important, because we do tend to have a lot of conditioning around people pleasing, we're very empathic, right? Men can be empathic too, but we're very prone to trying to manage everyone's emotions around us, right? We're always out there sensing. Anyone who had a difficult childhood environment tends to be even more that way, because they learn to come into the house and try to sense everybody, like, what do I have to do today to be safe, right? So we have a lot of conditioning that can counter a right to have boundaries. So for this one, it's linked to fire, and I like to just visualize a navel just below your belly and place both hands there just below your navel, and visualize a candle flame there. And imagine any frenetic energy, like if your head's buzzing, it's all that energy's flowing down to this fire, and it's becoming fuel for the fire. So the fire gets stronger and warmer. And you just say, I am centered. I have a right to boundaries. And then for boundaries, you may want to imagine that flame is actually like emanating out a protective ring around you. I decide what enters my energy body and what doesn't is another good one. And I affirm my power, my personal power. Good.
Yeah, I can feel that. I like that a lot, because this is um, a time that many of us can feel a little powerless
Yeah.
and at the mercy of others. And as you said, even sharing our space with others, that it may be a little too much. Or so, yeah, thank you for that one too. That's unexpected. I didn't
Yeah.
expect that, the candle with the fire and bringing the energy down into that. It is very centering. Also, you can feel that.
And when this one goes into overdrive, it's when we become control freaks, right? Because we really get in this sense of like, I have to control everything to be okay. But this candle flame is just this nice, balanced, that whole, classic prayer of give me the wisdom to control what I can and accept what I can't. And that balance point. Then you have a nice, still candle, right?
Yeah.
Not being blown around in the wind, which is how we often feel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
The final one, the heart.
All right.
Go to the heart. And then the rest, you'll have to read the book to get the other stuff.
We can do that. Yes.
Yeah. And this is just our worthiness, our belief that we are worthy of love, our ability to receive love and give love. And that was what I loved about what you shared at the beginning. Because so often we focus so much on getting better at giving love as women. And we feel like we're always falling short, not doing a good enough job as a mother, as a spouse, whatever, caretaker. And then really it's about allowing that love to come in, allowing ourselves to receive the support that we need. Self-love, right? Sounds cliche, but. So this is also, there's two ways to work with this one. So let's do the visual one just for something different, or the emotional one for something different. I love to invite people to just think of someone or some being that they love in a very simple, uncomplicated way, like a young child or a pet. And then that feeling like you want to hug them to your chest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And allow that feeling to arise, and then let go of the visual of that being and focus on building that warmth in your heart and extending it first to your whole body. And then it emanates out. But it only begins to emanate out when you really feel as if there's this infinite source. You will never be drained by sharing it, because there's this infinite source of this love inside that's been opened. And you can say, my love is limitless. Or you can be more personal. I am worthy. I allow myself to receive. And you just rest there in your heart. And another good one in this day, right now, is I'm balanced. Like that one, this heart chakra, it's the center chakra. There's 3 above, 3 below. It's this balance point. So when you're really feeling off balance, that's a good one. And so that's why I like that and the root chakra for stress right now, more than anything. That combination of root and heart, really empowers the immune system for this particular disease, and also brings in the vibration of the anti-stress vibration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. I love the variation that you placed on that. It reminds me a little bit of metta, which, I'm a huge advocate of metta, that you start with someone who is easy to love.
Yeah.
And that can be a pet or a child. I think of my sweet grandchild, my new grandson, and it makes it feel natural, like a natural flow of love. So again, as a funny personal example, I have a couple pictures of my grandson who's just turned a year, and he's so squeezable. You just want to squeeze him.
You do just want to grab him to your chest, right?
I do.
Yeah.
So I keep a picture handy in where he's looking like in one of his squeezable moments.
Oh.
And I often check it throughout the day. Because it brings that feeling of the comfort, the self-comfort, the the loving kindness that is naturally available to us when we remember to access it. But the pictures are an interesting way, for me anyway, because I'm very visual, to remember that. So there's one on my desktop of my computer, there's one in the area where I sit in the living room, and I have to get a new one for my desk, so that he is my loving kindness reminder to feel that hug all the way into my body, which then, I love what you said, then you can have enough to give out to everybody else.
Yeah.
You're naturally in that vibration, and so it goes out to others.
Yeah. But you have to give yourself that time to steep in that sense of
Yes.
receiving.
I love that.
So you feel like it's an infinite flow. It's not taking anything from me. I'm just a doorway, right? I spend some moments opening that doorway, let it flood into me first, and then there's so much overflowing, it flows outward, right?
You said a really important word. In fact, I've been doing these online Saturday morning retreats for women, and we talked about steeping. Last weekend, steep was one of the words that kept coming up. And it's that savoring, really, the taking it in, right? Just don't take it in, check it off the list. Took it in, now I got to give it back out again. So maybe some extra time with this chakra in particular to really feel the absorption of that deep, tender, loving kindness for yourself.
Yeah, and I think with all the chakras, in fact, it's this vibrational shift that occurs, and at first you have to spend a little bit more time with it, but then it becomes something you can click into when you need it much more quickly. Like your picture of your grandson becomes this memory cue that just opens up your heart, right, with the flash, right? So with all of these, if you put in a little time at the beginning, it gives you this extra tool set that you can draw upon whenever you need it, much more quickly.
Yeah, do it when you are not feeling badly.
Yeah.
Do it when you feel normal and in a good space. And then you can call upon it in times of duress, and it's much easier to access it because you've been practicing it. It's become part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great insights. Thank you so much. Well, we could talk forever about this, I think, and I do want to be mindful of your time and our viewers' time. Is there anything in particular you would really like to leave us with? Is there a message that you feel you've given us so many, but anything additional that you would like us to know or to take to heart during this time that has to do with our chakra care and self-care?
Well, I would say for anyone new to them, not to get overwhelmed or discouraged, and to just try it and experiment with these different. Am I more visual? Do affirmations work for me? Which is kind of the emotional memory and affirmations. Breathing, physical, the elements. There's a lot of doorways would be the main thing. And then what I always like to share with women is we also have kind of variations in our energy related to menstruation and pregnancy and menopause. And that's one of the focuses of the book. And also sexual trauma healing for anyone for whom that is relevant. Working with your chakras can be a very non-invasive way to work with yourself in addition with any other healing work that you're doing. So.
Yeah, so good to know. And hold your book up again. So when we go to Barnes and Noble online, or we go to Amazon, there it is, that you will recognize it. And
Chakra Empowerment for Women, Lisa Erickson.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been wonderful. I'm a practical person and I love tools. So you've really given us some great tools to work with, but deep inspiration to take good care of ourselves during these times. So thank you for being a resource for us.
Thank you, Jan, for being a resource and for your beautiful Saturday retreats and all that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. This is such an important time that I think feminine energy comes together also for individual and group and global healing. That our energy, the vibration of the feminine, small f, capital F, is so key because it is all about healing and wholeness. And And this is a wonderful time to remind ourselves of that and to return to practices perhaps from the past that we've given up, start some new ones,
Yeah.
and immerse ourselves in that energy for our own well-being and for the well-being of those around us and for the world,
Yeah, for the earth.
for the earth. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan, so much.
Take very good care. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.